Well, howdy folks, welcome back to the shop. So today we're going to be working on my Colorado here. It's a 2005 Chevy Colorado, and what we're going to be doing is changing the struts on the front end of this and maybe even doing the rear shocks. We'll have to wait and see. The shocks have been going bad for a while, I should say, on the rear, and the struts on the front have been going bad for a while. I've noticed that the front left one was leaking a little bit of oil a while ago, and then I happened to notice it's actually cracked. The spring's actually broke somewhere in here. So because I was always wondering, you know, when I have the vehicle parked, it always seemed to slant to the driver's side, and I know these vehicles are known to do that anyway, but it's been getting worse, and it's more than what I've seen other vehicles. So I started looking and found that cracked spring, so that's part of the reason why it sags a little bit more on this side. So I got these are FSC, and I'll list the part numbers down below. I got them relatively cheap. I think they were 40 bucks a piece, which really isn't that bad. So if the springs wasn't bad, I could transfer the springs to the new shock, but really, like I said, so 40 some dollars a piece. I don't even know how they make it for $40, honestly, but it's relatively simple. We got the one bolt on the bottom and then the three on top. So first thing you want to do, you know, get it jacked up. I got jack stands already under it. Pull the wheels off, so the wheels are off. So we're pretty much ready to go ahead and start. So let's go down and start taking this apart. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this inner fender wall out and see if we get a little bit more access back here. I don't know if we will or not, but we're going to try. So these clips, you know, everybody loves these clips, but I found that if you use this is actually a snap-on screwdriver. This works extremely well to get these clips sometimes. All right, so now we got those taken out. Move this. All right, so we can see bolts up there, and the size on them is 15 millimeter. So we're going to try to use this swiveling ratchet wrench and see if we can get these back ones. And look at that, we can. Same with this one over here. And if you don't have a swiveling ratchet wrench, you might be able to get these two on the top. But I will tell you, these things are lifesavers. You can really get some tight spaces with these. All right, so after those three are off, we got to work on the one that's down here. Right there it is on this side here, and then on the other side it's this guy here. And the nuts and the head of the bolt is 21 millimeter. All right. The other thing you might have to do is see how you can't really get this to go down anymore. You might have to take off the sway bar link. Okay, so we're taking the sway bar link off here. This is a little bit different. Most of the time, this nut on the front here is 15 millimeter, but this one is odd, so it's 16 millimeter on the front, and then the wrench to hold it on the back to keep it from spinning is 18 millimeter. All right. All right, so pull that out, set it aside. All right, so with that said, we're gonna just take the whole sway bar link off. And I'm gonna inspect this too, because there is a little bit of a noise in the front end, but it's not coming from this. This thing's still nice and tight, so very happy with that. So this, now I'm hoping will slide forward just enough. And look at that, we have a winner. Very, very happy. I thought it was going to cause us more problems, but if you can see, right there's the broken spring, and you can tell that this thing's been leaking oil, and it looks like it's in horrible, horrible shape. So this definitely needed replaced. All right, so let's hope we can get the new one installed just the same way the old one come out. And this is very, very snug in here. All right, so that went up fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put one of the new nuts on there to kind of hold it in place. All right. So I'm not sure why that doesn't want to go in there, but we'll make it go. We'll go ahead and get the bottom bolt installed. And if you're wondering, I did anti-seize all the bolts. I'm hoping that I never have to do this again, but it's always nice to have that anti-seize on there. All right, so we'll go ahead and get our sway bar links back on. All right, so the only thing that's really left to do is let's get these top 3 nuts on. And this is where fat fingers don't really help you. Alrighty, so we got the top 3 bolts on, we got the bottom bolt on, and we got our sway bar link back on. So let's go ahead and get the inner fender well back on. And then the driver's side's complete. So here's our inner fender well. And this guy should just kind of clip / fall into place. Just like and just push these guys back in. And there it is. So I am going to go ahead and coat all this rust here. I have a bunch of fluid film left over from another job. Actually, I was doing my other truck that I have, and I did do this frame years ago. It looks like it could use another coat, so I'll probably do that over the winter or the summertime here. But as for the strut, I mean, you can see it's relatively, I don't want to say an easy job, but it's a lot easier than I expected, because I thought you'd have to take the lower control arm off to get, you know, the swing out so you can get everything in there, but we didn't have to, so I'm very, very pleased with that. So that's great. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the tire on, and then we'll start on the other side. All right, guys, so there you have it. So I went ahead and did the passenger side off camera because it's exactly the same as the driver's side. I didn't want to bore you through all that. So here's both of the shocks or struts taken off, and like I said, the driver's side, it's cracked right there, and it's pretty easy to see, and you can see how old these shocks are, the struts there and stuff, and it looks like they might have been leaking for a while. Now this side was all dry, and I didn't notice, but it's hard to maybe see on the camera there, but this side started cracking too, so it was almost through. So it was good idea that I changed the whole strut assembly on both sides. I didn't take it for a ride yet, but I'm sure it probably rides 10 times better. One of the things that I found on the passenger side that was bad is the sway bar link. And it's not terribly bad, but if I go like this, you can see it moving in and out. So this could have been some of the noise I was hearing in the front. Sometimes you hit a bump, you heard like a little knocking noise and some little stuff like that. So I actually had one of these on order anyway because I suspected one of them being bad, and I had forgot which one I changed. Well, apparently this one over here is the one I changed. It was the passenger side that I didn't change, so I'm glad I got one. So now we got new struts, new sway bar link on this side. I'm not going to worry about the rear shocks in this video here, and I may not even record it because they're rather simple. All it is 2 bolts that goes up, and then there's 1 bolt on the axle. They're super easy to change, so I don't really think I'm going to film that. So with that said, guys, I would recommend taking the bottom nut off the sway bar link to change these struts. You don't have to take the sway bar link completely off, but you have to take the bottom knuckle off. We learned that with this side here, and I went to do that on this side, but then I realized this was bad, so that's why I did actually take it completely apart. So I would recommend that. Other than that, a little bit of finagle, and these guys drop right out. And changing the passenger side, even with replacing this, it couldn't have took more than a half hour. I mean, it was really fast. So doing it this way is extremely fast. I hope you learned something on this. So with that said, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button if you can. And until next time, take care. All right, guys, I figured I'd show you real quick on how to change these rear shocks on this Colorado here. And you just take this bottom bolt off here, and the heads of these is 21 millimeter on both sides. And then there's two more up there that are 10 millimeter heads on those. Other than that, it's pretty much that simple. Go ahead and just take all that stuff off and then replace the shock. Okay, so I'm gonna take the upper two loose right here first. Like I said, the heads of those are 10 millimeter. And with just a long extension and a bunch of dirt in your eye, and take those guys out. And there we have it. And right there, I don't know if you noticed that how that shock felt like that. That is completely bad. So that shock is definitely bad. And then after that, it's just this bolt here. And there you have it. This shock just comes right out then. Sometimes you have to prime a little bit or whatever, but usually they pop out just like that. So that one's bad. And then after that, it's just pretty simple. Put the bolts back in with the new shock. And these are MONROE shocks. I don't remember the cost of them, but they were really relatively cheap. All right, so the top two bolts are in. Now let's get the bottom bolt in. I did already cut the strap off of this, so that's why it's kind of longer than it should be. And I do anti-seize all my bolts before I put them on. So this guy is pretty simple. We can just push him up. And then, there it is. And then we just tighten this guy up. And that's it. So I already did the passenger side. I'm actually backwards. I'm underneath the car. I got mixed up, but I already got the driver's side done over there. And this side here is just now complete. And I tell you what, it took me, looking at the clock, under a half hour, and that's including jacking up the vehicle. So these rear shocks are extremely easy to change. So with that said, guys, this was a little extra towards the end here, but like I said before, please hit that like and subscribe button if you can. And until next time, take care.